heard was a band called Hobo Pie. We're in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, with this great group of musicians. And we just want to talk a little bit about this thing we call old-time music. This band, these folks are doing a jam, a play-along video for us. By the time the Gazette is out, this thing will probably be rolling. So look for that at www.funkyseagull.com and play along with this great bunch of guys. I'm going to start with Ray Frick on the end here, and then we'll go around and talk about each person. And I got a lot of questions, and I know a lot of people want to know more about old-time music. Now, Ray, could you tell us a little bit about the band, introduce your fellow band members, and then I'm going to ask you some questions and see if you can educate me about old-time music.
Okay, the band, I guess in this configuration, has been together for, what, 6-7 years, something like that. We have Carl Barron here on fiddle. Barbara Johnson is holding the guitar, but does equal time on fiddle, if not more. Bob's holding the mandolin, and he does equal time on guitar. And I'm holding a banjo.
I guess that makes you a banjo player.
That makes me a banjo player. We do primarily old-time Southern Appalachian music. We do throw in some jug band music and stuff like that in a way of when we're doing performances and stuff. We play performances and square dances. I would say most of the paying jobs are probably square dances at this point, but we certainly enjoy the performance gigs that we get and a chance to sing and stuff rather than just be playing fiddle tunes and stuff for dancers. We have a CD out. What is it? We Might As Well Be Dead is the name of the CD.
Explain that.
Well, Bob probably better one to explain it because he's firsthand witnessed it. So.
We put a couple of cuts up on one of the independent musicians' music sites, and there was a section there for, actually I guess they emailed me, and then I put that on the website, for comments. And so somebody had emailed directly to me, and he said, "Boy, you guys sound great. You're so authentic, so old-timey. Don't get me wrong, but you should all be dead."
So that's how we came up with the title for the CD. We have a website, hobopie.com, if you want to check us out. There's a couple of, yes, it's all one word, because it wasn't until recently they allowed you to put 2 words in website titles. But anyhow, you can check us out there. There's some funny pictures of us and some strange animations and a couple of sound bites that you can listen to, and you can order any of our merchandise there. And I guess...
and there's a link to, I have an MP3 site, and there's a link to that site, and you'll find some more Hobo Pie tunes on that website too.
As well as, we also have Carl's wonderful solo banjo CD for sale on the website.
Well, I've heard your CD, We Might As Well Be Dead. You were kind enough to send that to me when we first contacted you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, folks, it's worthwhile listening to. This is a good band. These folks are very trained in their individual instruments, but more importantly, they're a good group. They work together, they play off each other, and Patrick and I have spent the last few hours here with them, watching them play and recording them, and I'm telling you, I enjoyed every minute of them. It's really a great thing to hear wonderful musicians come together in this balance, and that's what I want to know. I want to just take this. Earlier, you described it as sort of dance music with words sometimes, but somebody who just has a mandolin or a guitar or a gut bucket in the closet and wants to start playing, the interaction of the instruments, the style of the music, what are they going to hear when they start going to festivals, trying to get into a jam session? What is this thing we call old-time music?
I would like to start on that because I just know the first time I walked anywhere and all of a sudden heard a fiddle start up, that I felt an adrenaline rush that I couldn't even believe, and I knew I wanted to start playing this type of music. And the first thing that you're going to hear probably is something like what Carl started that tune with at the very beginning of the interview, which is called Potatoes. And the next thing you just hear is this incredible sound. If it's a large jam, you could have as many, I've heard as many as 8 fiddles, you know, a large jam, and it's especially when you're just learning how. It's just such an incredible rush of a feeling to hear that.
Well,
and be
that
able
is
to
a
walk
unique
up.
sound, the potatoes, when they start playing.
Well, just the whole fiddles and the idea of everything, and some of the tunes are beautiful. If you walk up with the guitar, I think that's what you would just want to try to join in. And most people don't play old-time style guitar. They play, usually it's more like singer-songwriter style. So it's always good to just observe it and start to get the feel of it. And the next thing you want to do after that is just try to find this somewhere recorded. Yeah. And there are websites and places you can go, and major, you know, companies and everything like that on the web that sell recordings of this type of music, and it's just a great way to learn it.
Well, I'm listening to your guitar playing all day long and watching what you're doing with this old Gibson. Mm-hmm. And the bottom end of this band is very solid. A lot of good bass in there, mm-hmm. and good rhythm on the guitar. Mandolin, lots of great melody and sometimes rhythm on the mandolin and playing together. Fiddle, though, is the fiddle the heart of an all-time band or the feet? I mean, you set the tempo, don't you, with your 4 potatoes?
She's the bottom, and he's going to be the heart. Okay.
I may set the tempo, but sometimes I tend to run away with tunes.
Okay.
And
Carl goes downhill.
and they keep picking up. They're my governors.
Okay.
For keeping me going too fast.
Automatically. Well,
but the fiddle is, I guess, the star. When I guess the music came over from mainly, I guess, from England, Ireland, Scotland area into the Appalachians, there was no banjo in the music, and the fiddle was all that played for dances, and sometimes the dance there would only be one fiddler. So the fiddle tradition is probably the star of the band in terms of that. Though I love fiddle and banjo together, and that probably started somewhere in probably like around 1830 or something like that.
But the fiddle is a wonderful thing, but without the interplay of these other instruments, it would be very lonely, wouldn't it?
Sometimes it does have that sound.
That's good.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, a fiddle playing a high, lonesome, drony sound, singing the words is just eerie and inspiring, and that's certainly old time.
Yeah.
But that's not a jam.
Yeah.
It's not a jam. It's a solo kind of singer-songwriter thing, except with the fiddle instead of the guitar.
And then probably the next configuration up would be the banjo fiddle. And you see a lot of that. You'll go to festivals and you'll see 2 people sitting in a corner with just a hot banjo player and a hot fiddle player just interweaving, you know.
Now you're just going to segue me right into this. Ray, the banjo's part, I'm sitting watching you play. Mm-hmm. You work very hard. You're doing a lot on your banjo.
Well, thank you.
Supporting the band and playing. I can hear melody.
I was going to want to get paid more, you know.
He'll get twice as much as he got yesterday. Right? But I hear melody. I hear a little bit of rhythm. I hear a whole lot of things going on. Tell us what you do. What is the banjo's place here?
Well, what I like to do is I like to provide or think that I provide a lot of rhythm to the band, and I like to maybe try to capture the essence of the melody, but at the same time maybe just play off of what the fiddle player is doing rather than trying to actually mimic what the fiddle player is doing. And this is on fiddle tunes, of course. On songs, I basically try to capture, I guess, the melody line of the song and still try to keep a good driving rhythm going if that's what it calls for. That's basically my style. It's a pretty hard driving style.
How long have you been playing?
I've been playing for, 14 years now.
Okay.
14 years. I started out reading tablature and found myself a good fiddle player to play with. And
live right up the street from him.
Yeah, lives right up the
Thanks
street.
to the
So
mailman,
it was really easy.
So you weren't no kid when you started playing the banjo?
No, I was about 35 years old. Yeah, 33, 35, somewhere around there.
So the message there is, don't wait. It's never too late.
Oh, that's for sure.
Go get an instrument and start playing.
Yep.
And it's as simple as finding some friends, some people to play with, a good instructor maybe in the beginning, but then going off and living it.
Yeah, really, that was basically just to sort of, because I hadn't played any string instrument up
Yeah.
to that point. I had played drums and stuff when I was in high school. I did a little bit of stuff with baritone horn and stuff like that. But this is really the first stringed instrument that I tried seriously to play. And so it was basically just a matter of capturing the basics of the neck and stuff like that, a few different tunings and stuff like that. And then the more I listened to what was out there in old time, sort of dictated on which way I wanted to go with the music and stuff like that too, and which particular sounds I wanted to try to go after.
Well, you picked the right instrument. I enjoyed your playing very much.
Thank you.
About instruction. Some of my instructions have come at parties where, you know, someone who's a little more advanced than me sees me doing something and might suggest something, and it's as good as a lesson.
Yes.
And even though it might have occurred in 5 minutes, it's something I could
Pick up a lick or
work on
an
it for
idea.
5 years.
Right.
And it was both true for banjo and for fiddling, you know.
I think
So really be sensitive to, you know, when people might say, you know, point out something, some technique, you know, that you can use. Take it to heart, because that, you know, is very important instruction in terms of, you know, learning your instrument.
I think it depends on your own style too. Some people learn well from tablature and they can absorb things. Some people learn well from lessons. I don't learn from any of those. I just have to do things over and over again in my own goofy way, and hopefully it comes out right.
Now, how long have you been playing?
Oh, picked up the guitar when I was 13.
Okay, so you did start when you
Went through the folk scare, you know, and survived that, and then I committed bluegrass for quite a few years.
And then you saw the
Gave
true
that
light.
up, and then the true light, and yes, ragged but right, and here I am.
Well, I like what your mandolin's doing in there. I enjoyed your guitar playing, but your mandolin lends a, well, I guess old Edgar Stanistreet down in Philadelphia, he used to teach tenor banjo. He long did. But he said the mandolin, it's a sparkling instrument where the tenor banjo was a punching instrument. And he always described it as a tinkling,
Well, that's
sparkling
exactly
sound.
what I try to do is get, if he's playing one note, I try to get a note, and not always, but if he's playing da, I'll try to get da-da, you know, and I'm, you know, not necessarily on the same note, but maybe the lick. So
Yeah.
so that it gives a kind of a sparkly kind of
Yeah.
run around, and then melody, I mean rhythm as well.
Yeah.
Because that chunky sound sometimes when somebody's singing or when you just want to let somebody play, kind of adds a little, I think.
And the music seems to flow, and there seems to be, and I'm talking as an observer now, because I enjoy old time music, and I've been in old time jams, but I do not consider myself an old time musician by any way, shape, or form. But there seems to be a relaxed easiness, but also a very intense communication between you guys when you're playing.
Yeah, we try to get it right.
Yeah.
We try to listen to everybody as much as we can gather in, besides playing our own instrument, to gather in the sounds that everybody else is playing.
You know, at the same, go ahead.
You can't have blinders on for your own instrument. You really have to be listening to what everybody else is doing also.
You're not
Especially,
saying right.
that's how you learn in a jam. You have to be listening besides playing your own instrument.
I think we've all been to the jams where things might be going well, and somebody with a jumbo guitar slightly out of tune starts whamming out of rhythm chords
Or Doc Watson tunes. You
or
know?
something. Yeah, and it's like, wow. So, you know, you have to know your instrument and be very sensitive, like you guys said, because it's a very, I don't want to say gentle, but it's a very refined, smooth kind of music. It kind of flows. It goes along
Well,
with the music.
it's to be blended. In
Yeah.
other words, and nobody is really. I mean, when you have 8 fiddlers, they're all playing lead, and the banjo players who are playing with the fiddlers, whatever they're playing. And the guitar is providing the bottom and some rhythm, and the banjos are providing some rhythm also. So, but it's all together.
When you go to a jam, I frequently close my eyes. And even before I pick up an instrument, if I'm carrying an auto harp and a mandolin and a guitar, and I'll listen and see, well, what sound does it need? Where is it, and what would complement the whole sound? And maybe it needs a mandolin playing that tinkly, maybe it needs a kind of an auto harpy, maybe it needs another guitar. And it's a matter of the whole sound to make the experience sound.
To make it more
Close
about
your
the
eyes
music
and
than
listen.
about you at that
Right.
point.
Close
Yeah.
your eyes and listen to what's being played, and then you become part of a greater whole.
I'll tell you, for me though, when as intense as it can be, it's intensely relaxing. I think for me, if I'm in the right session, you know, and I can usually tell because I, like Bob, will tend to close my eyes and zone out, and it's almost trance-like. It's almost, you know, like a Zen thing. You just get into it, and you know, when it gets like that, I don't mind playing the same tune for 10 minutes, because it just feels right and it's really working. 20 minutes is a little extreme, but 10 minutes I'm done. Yeah, I've done 20 too.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely even playing on my own at home and stuff. If I'm in a zone and it's a tune I really like to play, and everything's working in the way it's supposed to, it's a very rewarding thing.
Well, before we move on, what type of instruments complement a old-time jam? Now, there must be more than just the four we see here. You have basses and all kinds of other instruments, spoons, bones. Do they fit in? What do you call them?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah.
Accordions.
What
Concertinas.
complements and what doesn't? Concertinas, whistles. What does not really meld into an old-time sound, I guess.
Well, there's no real rule book, and some people are more liberal than others, and people have gotten more liberal.
I think that, like you said, the four you see here, my wife plays spoons. We have a good friend that plays washboard.
But not in an overbearing way.
No, in fact, when we were down in Augusta one year, my wife actually took a short afternoon workshop in spoon etiquette, where they told you how to play on the periphery and how you will be more accepted in a bluegrass session than you would, or in a old-time session than you would at the bluegrass session.
Well, really, is there anything worse than bad spoons or bad bones?
No, there truly isn't. Unfortunately, Mike is pretty blessed when it comes to being a spoon player.
Upright basses are almost always welcome.
Yeah.
Because they are another bottom.
And brownie basses.
Brownie
Washed up
basses.
basses.
Right, washed up basses.
And nowadays people have what are those?
The bass box.
Bass boxes.
Yeah, those bass. The thumb
It's like a
pieces,
huge thumb piano that
Yeah, I've seen
plays
those.
bass and wonderful sound.
Really?
Yes.
But they have to be played well.
I would say most wind instruments would not fit.
But harmonica.
Accepted. There have been a number of very good harmonica old-time musicians that have sort of paved the way. And if you can play along with a harmonica, it's
Usually
certainly
not in
very
the
welcome.
blues style.
Right, in a very straightforward,
Not cross-stepping.
More in the melodic,
Right.
more melodic style.
Now, if someone has a tenor banjo, they could almost do a chop kind of thing like the mandolin, but it would have to be very subdued.
Yeah, or
wouldn't
play
Well,
melody.
tenor
with a
banjos
rhythm
actually
melody.
were one of the more were played originally before five strings became more
Well,
accepted.
and a lot of Melvin stuff, right? His
Right.
son or whatever, or whoever's playing with him plays tenor banjo as a backup
Or
instrument.
is it, I think it's actually a plectrum.
it? Okay, but same idea.
But he's playing,
Right.
but he's playing the melody on a single line.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not playing
Right.
rhythm, and it's within the context of the tune, and it's not overbearing.
Yeah. Tenor banjo, Roger Sprung said to me many years ago, is an obnoxious instrument. Be very gentle with it. So, especially for playing rhythm.
Yeah.
It's for string bands, you know.
Yep. Auto harp has become
Auto harp, yeah.
more accepted. Once again, you got to keep those 36 strings in tune, or you're going to be in big trouble. A lot of better auto harp players are going to chromatic harps, and unfortunately, they'll play in one or two keys, which then means you have to have a small moving van if you want to keep up with a jam, who changes keys every once in a while. But if you can keep along, and again, if you see a fiddle and a banjo player playing some squirrely West Virginia tune, look in each other's eyes, you know, with the meaning of life, you don't want to go up there with your auto harp and start banging away, you know. But if it's a big jam, 15 people, something, and you sit on the edge and not start calling tunes, I think an auto harp would be tolerated.
A lap dulcimer definitely
Dulcimer.
would be good.
Dulcimer.
Now, a hammered dulcimer sometimes is a problem. There are I guess, groups and sometimes people who don't really like hammered dulcimers for bands. The other thing is, I've had hammered dulcimer players come up to a jam and then they want everybody to tune to the hammered dulcimer.
Yeah.
So
Same with the arms.
you have to be a little more sensitive. Though there are some jams where there are hammered dulcimers in the jams, and they're
But
very
back
well
to the
accepted.
basics of everything in an old time jam is that you're going to stay in one key for a while. And when people come up with an instrument like an auto harp or a hammered dulcimer that are not used to old time music, they're excited and they're enthusiastic, as Bob said earlier. They want to, let's play this tune, and they're changing keys back and forth, and it makes it really difficult a lot of times for the fiddle and banjo players. So that's just something to be
It's
aware
all
of.
part of the learning
That's
experience.
correct,
And
right.
learning music, becoming a musician, is a lifelong pursuit. You don't do it in a year or 2 years. You do it your whole life. and interact with a lot of people.
I'm just thinking, this is sort of the paradigm that exists now. This isn't what was there 30 years ago. You can't. J.P. Fraley, one of the great old-time Eastern Kentucky fiddlers, sits in jam sessions and goes all over, key to key to key. And he's an old-time musician.
Yeah.
But he can get away with it.
But he can get away with it. But
Yeah,
this is sort of the common ground that we meet on.
When in
and-
Rome.
Exactly.
When in
Yeah,
Rome.
this is what, like I said, the paradigm is now for an old-time jam. Nothing's written in stone. Nothing has been done this way for 200 years. It's the way you will see it in most situations now. These are the kind of the rules.
Well, I've enjoyed listening to you folks. This has been a great day. We're going to put in, after this brief interview is over, some of your tunes from the instructional CD, and you folks can get to see them. And I think you're going to want to order it from Funky Seagull, or check with your local music store.
Or come visit us on the web.
Or visit Hobo Pie on the web, or Funky Seagull on the web.
Feel free to email us with any kind of questions or concerns. Or
These are great folks,
big, well-paying gigs.
first-class musicians, and a lot of fun to be with.
What about with the tune?
And yeah, I'm going to get out of the way, and you guys can take it out with a little tune, and then after that's over, we'll put in some of our stuff.
Roscoe. You play Roscoe. I'll play Johnson. Roscoe counts?
Johnson.
Carter counts.
Johnson.
Thank you.